Hi, so today we're going to paint this really cute mouse. There's actually two of them. There's one there, and they're in the teacups. So we are going to start by tracing. So once again, I printed this out on my printer. I've got some graphite paper, shiny side down. Now what I can do is I can tape this down on the edge here. And I'm going to tape the tracer down because I have quite a bit of tracing to do. So in case it moves, I won't lose my place. So we're going to do this. I have to move it over just a little bit. And make sure I've got that covered. This is covered. I've got an 8x10 here. Canvas, so it's the same size as the paper I printed, and I'm going to start tracing. I'm going to use a pencil and I'll be tracing it, and you can watch me trace. I'll do it quickly. Okay, so I've got that traced, it's on the canvas. I'm going to start with the background, and I've got sea glass. It's once again a deco art paint. Sea glass for the background, and let's get started on that. I have a big round brush, it's a 12-inch, and I'm just going to start painting this background with the sea glass. You can really use any color you want, but I tend to like using this color for this particular painting. I do have a supply list that you can get for free. Just click on the link and I will send you a supply list. I also have all these tracers, instructions, and photo and supply list on my Etsy store, which is on the link below. So I've got the background done. Now you could let it dry, which might be a good idea. I'm going to start working on the mouse, and he's going to be gray, and I just have a nice slate gray color for him. And I'm going to use this small brush. It's actually a size 8. So I'm going to wake up the brush in the water, wipe it off, and start painting this little guy. Now there are pencil marks that I traced like inside the ear and the tails. If you notice, I covered them up, but that's okay. I have my tracer which shows me where those lines are going to be, and I'll come back later and paint them in with black. As long as I have my tracer showing me where the tail is and where his little ear lines are, then I can come back and add them, because with acrylic, you can paint over acrylic paint very easily with a darker color. If we were working with watercolor, it would be a different story. We would have to plan ahead and make sure we don't cover things. So it's just a little different way of working with different paints. I will be starting to do some watercolor paint along with me in the future. I'm just getting started with my YouTube channel, and I hope you're enjoying the shorts that I put on. They're fun. And those, I've been doing quite a few little watercolor paintings. I've got a couple that I'm putting on today, by the way. So it's still January here in Idaho, and we had a little bit of snow yesterday, and it's starting to feel like spring though. I'm waiting for my daffodils to start popping through the soil. So I'm kind of in the mood to paint some paintings that remind me of springtime. And this is one of them, the little mice in the fun teacups. So I'm just taking my time, painting with this little brush. Like I said, I do use Deco Art paint. I get it at Hobby Lobby for only 99 cents. Other places it costs more. Michael's, I think, is a little more. And you could go online and buy it. But I have a Hobby Lobby near my house, so I just tend to go down there and get what I want. If they don't have a color I want, then I check across the street at Michael's, and sometimes they have it. Once in a while, I will get online to Deco Art and order them at Deco Art. Now, I teach paint parties. If any of you are interested in teaching paint parties, you can, I have a link which will take you to the paint party company that I'm involved with, Paint Party Headquarters. Wonderful company. They give us a lot of ideas for paintings, and they allow me to sell them on Etsy because I am a member. If I was not a member, I couldn't do that. And if you want to use any of these paintings for in-profit paint parties, you're not allowed to do that. They do have a copyright. But if you're a member, then you can use all the paintings that they share for paint parties for in-profit. And you can make a lot of money teaching paint parties, and they're a lot of fun. Sometimes I have up to 40 people in a paint party, and I charge about $35 per person, so that's pretty good. And I like doing it without it being a franchise. It's just me. So I share the money with some of the venues, for instance, and it works out nicely. Okay, well, we've got the little mouse painted. Oh, I've got one other little mouse down here. I think I better paint. So we're gonna get that done. And then we'll move on to the next color. Okay, so we've got the little mice done. Now I'm gonna start working on the teacups, and we're gonna start with the one in the middle, the yellow one. I have this pretty yellow color. And I'm always looking at my reference photo because there's a lot of details in this painting. We got a lot of stuff going on. But it's so cute when it's done. Now, like I said, if you would like to use different colors for your teacups, feel free. It's your painting. Do whatever you want. But I do have these instructions on my Etsy store, and they're not very expensive. I always have a sale going on. They start out at $4.95, and that's for the reference photo, so you have something to look at. And it's also for the tracer. It's for a supply list and step-by-step instructions. And I usually have it at least 50% off. Well, sometimes 40% off, but it doesn't end up costing very much. And if you purchase 4 of them, different ones, then you'll get 70% off. And that'll keep you busy for a month painting all those paintings, or at least a week, depending on how much you like to paint. And I do have for free, you could get the recommendation for the brushes I use for acrylic, the acrylic paint I like, where to get the graphite paper, but you can also make your own graphite paper if you want to. It's not that hard to make. So I'm putting all my yellow in here, and I am being careful here with the lines. And we do have yellow in the middle here. This painting, I have taught it before for children, and they have a lot of fun painting it. They just have to take their time and not be in a hurry. We're going to use pink up here, and we also have pink in the little mouse's ear and the flower. So let's put some pink in here for the flower. I love these little mice, they're so cute. So one Halloween, my husband calls me, I'm upstairs here in my studio, it's upstairs, the bonus room, and he says, Loretta, there's a little mouse down here. And I thought maybe it was someone dressed like Minnie Mouse who came to get candy for Halloween. And I go downstairs, and he had gone to get the extra candy out of the cupboard in the kitchen, which is down below our island, the cupboard there. And the M&Ms that were down there, the whole bag had been broken into, and there were M&Ms all over, and you could tell that a mouse had gotten in there. Needless to say, I had to call the pest control guy the next day. That little mouse wanted the M&Ms, so I threw away all the candy and ended up giving, I think I gave quarters out to the kids who came by since the candy was gone. So anyway, it was a little field mouse that had gone in because it was cold outside. And I don't know how he eventually disappeared. The pest guy didn't see him, but he clogged up the hole that it came in. But that was pretty funny, Halloween. Our little mouse. I like this pink. It's called Bubblegum Pink. What I really like is it is very opaque, so it covers things really well. The other thing I've mentioned before with the graphite paper, after you trace, and I don't do it when I'm doing these videos, but you can take an eraser and lighten up all the pencil marks before you start painting. I do that with watercolor. If I trace something that I'm going, like I'll take a photograph and I'll trace it onto my watercolor paper. No, it's not cheating. Some people think that's cheating, but it isn't. I'm still painting my own painting, and I took my own picture. Anyway, I will lighten up the tracing on there because with watercolor, I don't really want it to show through. Although a lot of watercolors will have pencil marks, and that's okay. It's the style that they like of watercolor. I remember once going to Carmel in California, and they had an art gallery, and they had Tony Bennett's watercolors, and they all had all the pencil marks showing. It was his style. That's what he liked to do. That was pretty cool. I went, okay, well, if Tony Bennett can do it, I can do it. I guess I talk about watercolor painting a lot. It is my first love. I have been painting with watercolor for about 25 years, maybe more. There are lines, green lines here, but I'm just going to paint this whole handle pink for now. I can come back later and cover the pink with green. And you'll notice some of these aren't totally round. I'll come back with the green paint and make them more round. No problem. Okay, we've got that done. Now I'm going to work on this one, and it's lilac, and I am going to put a lot of little purple dots in there later, so I didn't really draw them in. I can make up where I want them to be later. So I'm going to do the lilac color. These colors are fun, and the teacups, they're great painting like for Mother's Day, for a Mother's Day tea party. You can have your family over or friends and have this painting as a painting you guys do together. That would be fun. Or paint it and give it to your mom or your daughter or whoever. It's just a happy painting. I'm using the tip of this little brush to get into the crevices. And then we're going to do this here. This painting will probably take you about an hour, maybe a little longer to paint. You can always pause and then catch up with me, or watch the whole thing and then come back and paint. There we go, there's our lavender. Okay, now let's do some red borders and red on this teacup. So we've got some nice true red paint. I'm using my number 10 brush, and I'm going to come along with this red here. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to let certain areas dry. So because I did that already, and then this is wet, I can come back and work here with the red paint, and it won't affect that pink that I put in earlier. So with acrylic and also with watercolor paint, you work around different areas of the painting to allow other areas to dry. That way you can keep painting without having to walk away and say, oh, I need to let the whole thing dry and then come back. This just makes it more fun. You can keep painting. You just avoid certain areas. And the yellow obviously is dry because we did that quite a while ago. All right, so we've got the red there. Now we've got red here on the cup handle. I've got red here. I'm using the very tip of the brush right now. A little bit of red here. I put a little too much paint, so I'm going to share it with this one. And then I'll come back here. And then we have red flowers here. Now I might suggest you use the 6 or the 8 brush. These brushes are really nice. You can get a whole set of them at Hobby Lobby. I suggest they go on sale really often. I'm going to use the smaller one for the flowers. And you get a whole set of different sizes of the round brushes. I'm going to use the 8. That should be small enough. And like you'll get 4 or 5 of each one. And I usually get them on sale for 40% off. So it's a great deal, and you don't have to worry if one of them gets messed up and you need a new one. They're there. You've got a whole pack of them. You can look, just click on that link and you'll see the link that I can send you. You will see them online. And like I said, every other week or so they put their art supplies on sale at Hobby Lobby. And you can order them online if you don't have a Hobby Lobby near you. But I really like these brushes. I even use them for paint parties and they hold up really well, which is sometimes hard to do, especially if I'm teaching children, because they don't tend to take good care of the brushes when they're painting. Poor little brushes are always crying, help, help. Okay, so we've got the red done and we are going to move on to the orange stripes here. I'm going to go back to the bigger brush. It's a size 10 and I've got orange paint and I'm just going to paint this orange. Now you'll notice the lines here. We can see them. That's okay. I'm going to come back with black paint later on and outline everything. So I'm just going to come along. Whoops, didn't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is get rid of this, let it dry, and I'll be going over it with gold later. So I'm cleaning my brush off and just pulling that paint off where I put it. Didn't want to do that, okay? I'm gonna let it dry. I'll come back later with gold. Now this paint is very transparent. Kind of drives me crazy, but that's the orange. So I will come back later with a second coat, but I've got to let it dry first. I don't know if you heard that, that cha-ching. It means someone was on my Etsy store buying something. And I have my iPad close by, so it rang on the iPad. I'm gonna have little gold polka dots here. Okay, so that's about all I can do with the orange right now. I'm gonna have to let that dry. Oh, we've got orange in here for the flower. So I can come in here and paint the flower orange. I haven't really found an orange that is not quite so transparent. If you guys find one, let me know. Because the deco art ones, all the oranges I've gotten are very transparent. Not sure why. So I usually have to come back with a second coat after they dry. And that works well. Okay, we've got that done. So we're gonna work on some green dots now on this teacup. I'm back to the number 8. I've got my green and I've just gotta carefully paint this. I always have paper towels close by, as you notice, to clean off my brush when I need to. And you'll see I tend to paint, like if I'm painting round, I'll paint it around. Cross and then round. I like the green with the pink. I think it's pretty. Anyway, if you are enjoying my videos, and I hope you are, hit the subscribe button and the like button. I would so appreciate it. I'd love to hear your comments if you have any. And I believe I put a little survey asking if you'd like more acrylic paintings or watercolor. And any comments, I will respond happily to your comments. Even if they're not nice, I'll still be happy. But I'm hoping you're enjoying following along with me and painting with me. That's what I'm hoping that you do. If I'm a little too slow, you can speed it up with that little, it looks like a little settings button or a gear, is what I say it looks like. You can hit that and you can change the speed, slow me down or speed it up, whatever you want. I'm going to put some stripes in here. Another thing that's nice to do, once your painting is finished and it's dry for at least like 2-3 hours, you can come back and add some gloss over it and it will make all the colors really sparkle. Okay, we're going to put a leaf here. You just have to really make sure the paint's dry, otherwise it will smear everything. So even wait a day if you want to totally make sure. So I think that looks pretty good. And let's move on to purple dots in the lilac. So I've got, see, I had lilac there. I've got a darker purple now. And what I'm going to do also is, because this part of the cup is underneath, I'm going to add some purple here. Okay. And then I'm going to add a line of purple here where the cup meets the edge. It's kind of like this here. Just bring that around. And, all right. I'll turn this for now so I can get a better perspective of what I'm doing. Okay. Now I'm going to add some polka dots. Put some polka dots. These are smaller, so I didn't draw them out. And I'm just putting them all over. There is no rhyme or reason to where they're going. If you want, you can pencil it out and figure out where you want them to be. I just think they're fun. There's the purple one. We got to work on this one next. So I've got a metallic glorious gold that I'm going to use with the orange. So I'm going to put some gold stripes. When I teach paint parties and I bring out the gold paint, everyone gets so excited. They love using gold paint. And at Christmas time, it's really fun to use the sparklies. After you paint like snow, then you get the sparkle paint, and it makes it, it's like glitter, but it's the paint, and it's so pretty. It makes the paintings look really pretty. See, so this wasn't as hard as it looks, was it? There's just a lot of steps to this painting. I'm going to put gold in here, and here, here, and we're going to put another coat of orange on here and see if it's dry enough to add it. Add a little more orange in here. I think that looks a little better. And I'm going to put a dot of orange here. Okay, let's make this yellow. This daisy. When I'm painting little things, I have my hands really close to the brush edge where the brush is going to start. If I'm painting loose, I can keep my hand away from it. But to have more control, I like to keep it very close. Kind of like when you're working with a pencil. If you're drawing or something and it's a very small, intricate thing you're drawing, you hold it closer. Right, now I need to add some gold on the orange, some gold little polka dots here on this orange one. The orange is almost dry enough to do it. You might want to let yours dry a little longer. Just going to put it in. Alrighty, final things, we're going to add black and white. Now I did forget this little guy's nose. I'm going to put his nose in. It's gray. I kind of left it that way for a reason, so I know exactly where his nose is. Now I've got black, and what I'm gonna do, I'm going to speed everything up so you don't have to watch me carefully put in the black lines, but I am going to paint them in. So I've outlined it. You don't have to do that. I think it kind of brings out all the colors and everything, but now what I need is to highlight everything with white. And this, I think, adds a lot to a painting. The highlights, I'm just gonna add some little white where I think the sun might be hitting. A little on top of his head and on the flowers. The sun's coming from this side, so I'm bringing the highlights over. Maybe even some highlights on his little whiskers and the eyes. He's got highlights on the nose and along here. His little hands. Highlight there. And we'll add some highlights here. I just think it just really adds a little sparkle to a painting. You probably heard me say that before. Highlights and putting a high gloss really adds a lot to these acrylic paintings, I believe. Across here and put some highlights here. Now I did the black lines quickly. You can take your time, they'll be a little neater. One thing about working with the black paint, the more paint you put on the brush, the smoother it goes on. So that's kind of an interesting note. Let's do some highlights here. Sun's coming down from here. That I kind of overdid it, so I'm going to work on that a little. And I'll show you what I'm going to do to fix it. There's always a way to fix something with acrylic that you don't like. Okay, I'm going to show you how. I'm cleaning off my brush, wiping it off, and I'm going to go back to my purple. I'm just going to add some purple here. And the dark purple, because I had too much of a highlight there. And I'll let that dry. Okay, and there we go. There's the little guy. He's all happy up there in the teacup. I hope you had fun painting that, and I look forward to painting with you again in the near future. Thank you for watching. Please do hit the subscribe button and the like button if you enjoyed painting with me. Thank you so much.